much better soundtrack than the original movie. Much, much better. Love it. Now, new and old characters. Well, old characters would be Wolverine, Rogue, Jean Grey, Storm, Professor X, Magneto, Mystique. All of them are great. I guess if I were to say my favourite out of the old characters that are continuing from the first movie would have to be Wolverine. I know that's, like, it might be because he's the protagonist, I don't know, but he's one of my favourite characters in this movie, to be particular. But concerning the new characters, because there are quite a bit of new characters, I mean, you've got Nightcrawler. I think he's the only new character in this movie. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But he might be the only new X-Men, he might be the only new hero in the movie. Anyway, he is a great addition to the movie. I like him. He's not that memorable. Well, he is, but it's just not my favourite. Like, I'm sort of like in the middle, like, he's great. It's just, for me, he's just not my favourite. He's great, but he's just not my favourite. Also, adding on to the list of new characters, not really a hero, is the villain, is William Stryker. William Stryker, let me tell you, is a great villain for this movie, especially seeing as he has very strong ties to Wolverine. And I really like this part of the movie. Like, I really like this aspect of the movie, bringing in William Stryker. It was a great idea. If the villain was someone else, I'm pretty sure the movie wouldn't be as good. But holy crap, William Stryker was the best choice of villain for this movie. He is, as in terms of a villain, the fact that he's a human is, I think, a nice twist on it, because it's a nice twist from the first one, because in the first one the villain was Magneto, and you really connected with Magneto. With this one, you sort of do connect with him, not as much as you did with Magneto in the first one. But, you know, I know I'm comparing the movies, but it's really hard not to compare two good movies, especially when they're of the same franchise. But I really like how they brought in a human villain for this movie, because then it turns, like, because then you realize, oh crap, the people that the X-Men and that Professor X are defending can also be as evil and methodical as someone, say, like Magneto. So it really turns that you know, protecting the humans idea, it really turns that idea on its head. But again, as I said, he has very strong ties to Wolverine. For this movie specifically, this is a very personal struggle for Wolverine, seeing the person who basically created him, essentially by putting the adamantium onto his bones, you know, like put it into him and making him the Wolverine, essentially. So I like how this ties into Wolverine, and how Wolverine ties into the villain. And I will say that in this movie so we get Wolverine's origin essentially in this movie. Okay, we everything we needed to know about how he got that metal on his claws, where did he come from, the army, all those questions that you had about him in the previous film are now answered in this one. They don't need to be answered or retold again. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this movie, okay? That's why I'm not going to do a review on that movie, because that movie sucks. It's worthless, it's a piece of shit. So, yeah, because, one, we already got Wolverine's origin story essentially in this movie, and two, that movie sucks, so why do a review on it? It's just going to be a waste of time. Now that I've got that off my chest, let's move on to the story and plot. Story and plot. Well, concerning narrative, the narrative is great. The writing for this movie is great. Tops everything that was in the X-Men one that was in the previous movie. I will say that everything in this movie is on a bigger scale. Just everything is more personal this time. Everything is more... The stakes of this movie are much higher. Like, it's not just a city this time. It's the entire freaking world. And I also, speaking of the plot and the story, I do like how they injected Professor X into the story, making him not the villain, but the thing that the villain uses for his plan. I think it's just a really good idea. Use the guy that has been teaching us hope for all this time, and use him as the bearer of bad news or whatever. Use him as the thing that will destroy everything. And this movie also has so many great scenes. Many great scenes, like the opening scene, the Storm versus Fighter Jet scene, the entire climax of the movie. But there is one scene that I do like specifically. It's the school invasion scene. I don't know what it is about seeing the heroes getting the asses handed to them, but I just like this scene because, I guess because you get to see that these people are people, that they are vulnerable, and that their vulnerabilities can cost them. Also because you know that these guys are going to come back with fury and, you know, beat the bad guys with Fist of Fury or whatever. So I wrote on my list things that I didn't like about the movie, and I will tell you the list is very, very short by one, because I don't want to sound like a complete X-Men fan or whatever. I just couldn't find anything big in this movie that I had a problem with. I couldn't find anything that I didn't like. Most of the movie is, if not all of the movie, is fine. It's just this one thing that I wrote down. This one thing is more a nitpick than anything. It's how they use Magneto during the climax of the movie, where he stops Professor X from being mind controlled to wipe out all the mutants. That's the plan. That's going back onto the story and plot. That's the plan that William Stryker had, to use Professor X to wipe out all the mutants. Magneto comes along in the during the climax of the movie and turns it around, and he gets Professor X to destroy all the humans in the world. And it didn't really take me out of the movie that much, to be quite honest. As I said, it's like a nitpick, so it doesn't really matter, but it kind of felt like they had to remind us that, oh, Magneto's the bad guy, so let's hammer it over the audience's head by making him get Professor X to do this. So, but I don't really have a problem with it that much. Like, it is, like, that's how I feel about it, and I shouldn't have to feel about it, but every time I watch this movie, I just skip over it. Like, it doesn't really matter that much. So, in the end, this is a great movie with great performances behind all of the characters. My favourite, personally, Wolverine always will be my favourite mutant. Also, but, you know, if I'm being honest with myself, Magneto has actually become another favourite mutant of mine. I just don't know what it is about Magneto, but I love him. He is one of the best villains, in my opinion, in movies. He was well done in the first X-Men movie. He was well done in First Class, which I will get to later as these reviews continue. But as for this movie, not much really to say else about it. It's a great movie with incredible writing and a great narrative, and not too many things that I hate about it. Just one, and that's a nitpick. But yeah. Anyway, please go down, like and comment on this video, and subscribe to my channel for more trailer reactions, movie reviews, and random videos. Also, just so you know, next week is X-Men 3: The Last Stand. Wow, that's going to be fun. See you later.